Time for business now here on France 24. Back to full editions of the programme means back to full-length business. Will's here this week for Owen. Kicking off with a business story that has particular political edge over in the US.
Yeah, that's right. New York's Attorney General has opened a probe into a number of private equity firms over tax avoidance, or possible tax avoidance at least. Now, among these firms is Bain Capital. That has a political edge because, of course, it was formerly run by Mitt Romney, the Republican presidential challenger. The allegation is that the companies took their fees, their management fees, from their clients and converted them straight into investment funds, thereby managing to avoid a significant amount of tax. Now, it's not even clear, it should be pointed out, if this is illegal or whether it's just an aggressive tax dodge at this stage. But of course, it won't help Mitt Romney particularly because he's already come under attack for his role in Bain from the Obama campaign. They call private equity vulture capitalism. And of course, he has himself refused to disclose several years of his tax returns. It should be noted, of course, that New York's Attorney General himself is a Democrat. That's on Obama's side. Like I say, very political story there.
Yeah, see what comes out of that one. Now, of course, here in France, it is what is known as the rentrée today, when people get back to work after the long summer holidays, including everyone here at France 24, where we've got a full edition again. But one thing that hasn't really taken a break over the summer is the Eurozone crisis.
That's right, and Spain in particular remains really at the centre of worries. Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy is going to be meeting with Angela Merkel later this week, and over the weekend he's been saying it's more and more likely that Spain will need help, but he's not keen to have more strings attached to any aid that does come his way from his Eurozone partners. And just this past weekend, in fact, Spanish consumers have been further hit by a rise in sales tax.
Shoppers in Spain may be choosing their dinner menus more carefully after the hike in sales tax over the weekend. Except for essential foodstuffs like bread and milk, VAT has gone up by up to 3 percentage points.
It's awful. Prices will go up even higher. It's clear the country is in a difficult situation, so we all need to take part. No one likes it, but we all have to share the efforts.
The tax hikes are the latest of Spain's ongoing austerity measures aimed at reducing its debt by 65 billion euros this year. Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy defended the decision, insisting the painful measures would only be temporary. He also criticised the current European interest rates.
It's unacceptable that some countries can request money and be financed at 0% or even negative interest rates, while others request money and do not get it, or get it with interest rates over 6%.
Spain's borrowing costs remain dangerously high, around 7%. Rajoy is said to be close to asking for more aid from Europe, as the European Central Bank is considering a restart of its bond buying programme. However, he may be on a collision course with the head of the ECB, who has said the measure should come with strings attached, like commitment to more reforms. Rajoy says there is no need for new conditions. ECB President Mario Draghi is to unveil the outlines of the bond buying programme later this week. Rajoy, meanwhile, is set to meet Angela Merkel on Monday. Germany, Europe's paymaster, is strongly opposed to ECB-backed bailouts.
Yeah, and another story here in France, the government dealing with another banking bailout.
That's absolutely right, yeah. The company this time is Crédit Immobilier de France. They deal with generally sort of lower range mortgages for lower income families, but they have lost access to the credit markets themselves and are now going to have to be bailed out by the government to the tune of potentially around 20 billion euros. That's less than the government put towards Dexia, of course, when that bank went under last year, but still a significant amount of government cash is expected. The company will now be wound down.
And we mentioned this about 10 minutes ago or so in the news. Unemployment figures here in France heading in the wrong direction, aren't they?
Yeah, breaking through that psychological barrier of 3 million, according to the Labour Minister Michel Sapin over the weekend. You can see there the official figure for July was 2.99 million already, so perhaps not too much of a surprise, but it has apparently broken through that barrier. We don't know the exact figure, he didn't announce that, but we are expecting things to keep going up, he said. There has been, I suppose, one bit of good news on the jobs front for French workers this week. Today, in fact, Monday, French workers will be starting work at a new Amazon depot in the Burgundy region of the country. That's expected to create up to 1,000 jobs.
Inside the Amazon building, everything is set up to sort the kilometers of items ordered online, ready to be sent across France. And the recently hired employees couldn't be happier.
It's hard to find a job at the moment. I found Amazon, it's perfect for me.
It represents a future for us, maybe some permanent contracts and more jobs.
Over 1,000 new jobs will be created in the city of Chalon-sur-Saône in eastern France. Wonderful news for its residents, even though some are still unfamiliar with online shopping.
What does Amazon do?
I don't really know.
Are you an Amazon customer?
Not at all.
But for people here, the word Amazon means employment.
It's always a positive thing. Some families will have a second income. More employment in a city is never a bad thing.
However, one workers' union is less enthusiastic. It's criticizing the lack of permanent contracts on offer.
They've announced 700 temporary jobs during their busiest times, such as Christmas, and only 300 permanent jobs. That's only 30% permanent for 70% uncertain jobs, and that's a problem.
The other downside, the company's headquarters are in Luxembourg, meaning most taxes will be paid there and not in France.
And briefly sticking with that employment or unemployment theme, the French newspaper Les Echos is reporting that Airbus could be coming to the rescue of workers at one of Peugeot Citroën's French factories in Aulnay. 3,000 jobs are expected to be lost in 2014 when that factory finally closes down. That's been quite a hot potato political issue in France. And according to the paper, the government has been leaning on Airbus to take on at least a small number of those skilled workers to reduce the impact of that closure.
Okay, quick look at the markets then.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at Asia, which is trading at the moment. A couple of bad bits of data have come out in the last 48 hours or so. In fact, the HSBC China Manufacturing Index has hit its lowest since 2009, and official manufacturing figures have also been down, showing quite a slowdown. But as you can see, the market's still trading up there at in the 5:30 GMT figures. That is expected to be because traders are hoping that the worse the data is that's coming out, the more likely it is that China's government will provide more stimulus to the economy. They're banking on that, and that's why things are in the green at the moment.
Okay, a couple of London stories now. First of all, there are allegations in London of foot dragging when it comes to freezing the assets of the former Egyptian regime.
Yeah, this is an interesting report by The Guardian and Al Hayat newspaper and BBC Arabic. They accuse the UK government of allowing former members of the Mubarak regime to hold on to millions worth in businesses and property assets, not just in London but in the UK generally, of course, mainly in the British capital. Of course, international sanctions apply to many of these people, which should see these assets frozen and returned to Egypt. These include luxury properties and businesses. They're still listed under the names of those regime members, including Mubarak's son Gamal. For instance, The Guardian cites the example of Switzerland, which took just 30 minutes to begin freezing Egyptian assets. The UK took 37 days. So that's the sort of thing. Yeah, they cite lack of political will in Egypt itself, where, of course, many regime members are still involved in the political process. And, of course, also the City of London, they claim, won't want to disrupt its cosy relationship with Arab investors.
Okay, and finally, if you've been inspired by the Olympics and you've been out training thinking, I could do that, there is another way to get your hands on a gold medal or something like that, doesn't it? There's a bit of a spotlight, of course, been on London with the Olympics and also the Golden Jubilee, but you can get yourself a souvenir another way. Yeah,
Christie's has certainly chosen their moment to sell a host of London paraphernalia, including Olympics material. Here you can see the gold medal there from the 1908 Olympics, the first one to be held in London. Also, yeah, the Olympic torch from 1948 up for sale. I could see myself going for a jog with that. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
That would be brilliant.
You'd feel very Chariots
through
of
the Parisian streets.
But a medal will set you back around $11,000.
Cheap at half the price. Yeah, good, along with the Rolex watches from China we heard about earlier. All right, Will, thank you very much. Will Edwards there with the business here on France 24. Stay with us. Louise is here very shortly with the latest news.